This is what got me to ask you to do something nice for a stranger.
I want to tell you what I did when you're done. Because I actually did.
Yeah.
So
I make it a point, especially like if I don't know people, to try, because you can't always succeed at it. Try and be nice to them, right? So like the first few people I come across in the morning, I'm like doing the best I can to be nice to them. And even if I'm in a bad mood, like I will go out of my way to put myself in the mindset of like, all right, we're all up. It's early for everybody. It sucks for some people. It sucks for other people more. Like, and I went and I swung by the place where I go and get my car checked on, and I need an inspection. It's up at the end of the month. And the guy who takes care of me, who I think he has like Tourette's or something. He has like a shaky hand and a little bit of a speech impediment and a couple tics, right? But he works at this place and he's awesome. Like, God bless him. He's a great dude. And he came up to my car and he saw me, and I could tell he was really bummed that he was about to tell me that there's a 2.5 hour wait already at the place that I go to get my car checked up, right? And I was just like, I was in that mindset already of like, do something nice. And I set out. I was like, look, man, you guys always really take care of me. Thanks for letting me know about the wait. What if I get here tomorrow at like 7:30? Like, could I just like get in at that time? Would that be good? Are you guys going to be getting set up? And he's like, yeah, just come in tomorrow at 7:30. I was like, thank you.
nice.
Do you guys drink coffee? And he goes, yeah. And I go, cool. I'll be there with coffee.
Wait,
for
so time out.
everybody.
So this was yesterday that you went
This
there?
is today. This is this morning.
So I thought that you went back today. My bad. Gotcha.
And I don't know, like, most of the people who work there. I know like the two people I interact with. One's the manager and one's this other guy. And we don't even know each other. Like, they know my name, maybe, if they read it on the computer, probably.
Yeah.
But we just know each other. Like, we know the person. And I was just like, listen, do you guys drink coffee? He's like, oh, hell yeah, we drink coffee. I was like, thank God. Well, I mean, they're mechanics, so I kind of assumed, but I don't want to assume.
It's either Monster
So,
or
like,
coffee.
Yeah, but then I was just like, listen, I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm going to bring coffee for you guys. Thank you so much for just giving me the heads up. Thanks for always being there. Like, and there was nothing about that interaction that went my way, but I was just like, you know what? I've been wanting to do that for a while, and I don't know some of the people there. But I also, like, it's twofold. Like, I want to do something nice for them because I don't interact with them. I also want them to know when I come in, like, that's the fucking guy who brings us coffee sometimes. Like,
Yeah,
there's
cool.
like two motives there, but the initial one that was in my head, and I've been thinking about it for a while when I go there, but I keep forgetting to ask, or like I'm busy and I'm already moving through the day, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna ask him now because I'm not gonna be able to complete whatever I came here to complete today. I'll be back tomorrow. And I was just like, all right, cool. I'm bringing coffee for everybody.
Love that.
So then I was like, hey, you were like, hey, do you want me to do it? Like, and I was like, hey, Odie, can you do me a favor? Just do something nice for a stranger. And you.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the coffee thing because I went to my favorite coffee shop, which is literally like 30 seconds from where I live. I can walk. Actually, I do walk there sometimes because it's also next to like a little like organic grocery store. So I'll take my dog, and like they have organic dog treats for him. So if I take him in there, like he gets treats. Anyways, well, all I did was I bought my coffee. I go here all the time. So people that work there in the mornings, they don't know me by name, but like they recognize me.
Yeah.
And so all I did was when the lady checked me out, I said, hey, can you ring me up a $10 gift card, and the next couple people that come in here use that form instead of letting them pay?
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So at least one person, maybe two, 1.5 at the very least, is going to get money off their coffee.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just a little $10. Because I mean, their coffee's only like, I think a large is like $5.50. So that's what I'm saying. At least one person, maybe two if they order mediums.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, and this is like top level coffee for anybody listening. That's like $5.50 for a coffee. It's like,
I love this coffee
is the good
so
shit.
much.
Yeah, this is the good shit.
I almost don't even really make my own coffee anymore because theirs is so good, and they have a punch card. And one of the ladies that works there, she always punches it twice for me.
Yeah,
maybe I'm cute. I don't know.
So then I left that place, and I have part of my other routine to continue walking.
We're still going
through my morning. Yeah,
this episode is entitled Kevin's Saturday Routine.
Morning. Well, this is why I asked you to do the favor.
I love doing this kind of stuff, though. I do it all the time.
This is why I asked. And it's because it was on the top of my mind because, like, I was driving over to the bagel place that I go to, and I'm like, I always have a great interaction there. Like, the girls know me, I know them, but they didn't know me at first, right? I was just like this guy who came in and was like happy and like brought sometimes like the things that you do that make people's days better are just like being a pleasant person, right? You know, Like we always like I feel like there's a lot of like accounts and brands that'll like try to promote this idea of just being like be the reason someone smiles today, right? Like you'll hear that a lot. But some days, and I was thinking about this on the way there, like it's not like that's a great philosophy, right? And I like being the reason that someone smiles at some point. Like anybody, like that's a little victory for you as a person. But some days it's enough to just be the reason someone didn't go, oh, fuck, right? Like, some days it feels like it was enough to just not piss anybody off.
I agree with that.
Like, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, that's a really great philosophy of, like, yeah, be the reason someone smiled today. But every once in a while, like, it's okay to have that day where, like, you just weren't the reason someone flipped someone off on the highway. Like,
it's fair.
You did, and I feel like that's a little victory that gets overlooked. Like, if you're just not in anyone's way on a bad day, like,
the two staples. Yeah.
You still fucking won. Like, you don't have to make someone smile to, like, have a successful day. I feel like it's an equal victory to just not piss people off.
Yeah, just don't be a dick, right?
Just don't be yeah, like, if you're just not a dick, like, that's also a win.
That's also an option.
Big wins for normal people.
You have 3 options. You can either buy them a gift card, yell at them, or just don't be a dick. Like,
or just don't be a dick. Like,
just don't be a dick.
All right, let's kick this thing off.
Are you gonna smack your head again?
Three, 2, 1. Yeah.
I don't know if mine was very low. I wanted to go after you, so I punched my hand.
You punched a fist into a palm. It was like rock, paper, scissors against yourself, and it was a draw.
And I always lose.
Welcome back to the Unpop Podcast, where Odie puts potpourri on steak. You thought I would forget. You thought I would forget, but I did not forget. That's the bit now. Is you put potpourri on your steak. This podcast is a steak, and Odie's here to put the potpourri on it.
I am potpourri.
Kevin Miner, the captain, the commissar of this podcast, the lieutenant, if you may.
That means I outrank you
now, huh?
That means I outrank you.
Why? You're my subordinate. I said you're my subordinate.
Lieutenant is lower than captain.
You get promoted if I get promoted. That's how this works.
So what am I right now?
You are a brand ambassador for many bag companies, but also you said I was the captain when we started this thing.
Yeah, but if you're a captain, what rank am I?
0.
No. What rank am I?
All right, what's above captain?
You're captain. If I'm not above you, then what am I?
So then what are you?
Deckhand?
You answer for me.
Are we on a ship? Are we on a plane? Are we on a base?
It's got to be a ship, I feel, at this point. Like, this is definitely a ship, and we are steering it in a direction.
I want to be the cook.
We're on the high seas of branding and digital commodities. And Chef Odie. All right.
Because I'm always picking something up.
All right, cool.
Actually, my head went to Mr. Krabs.
Chef.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm the captain. Okay, cool. Welcome back to an Unpop Podcast. Our Chef Odie is throwing potpourri on your podcast steak as we speak. I am your captain, Kevin Miner, he, him. With me, as always, is...
Odie Matthews, they, them.
That's right.
That is right.
See? I feel like we've created a beginning to this podcast where, like, it's important that we start off on what for some people would seem like the worst foot. But this is how we start here. We, like there's a couple turns of the key and the alternator maybe isn't working at first, Like this is like a horror movie and we're just trying to get this car running.
Get the jumper cables.
We're just trying to run away from the inevitable crash that is this podcast. And we're turning the engine over, right? The inevitable chainsaw massacre of podcasting.
Is that
That's what's gonna happen, buddy.
Is that what we want?
I mean, that's the feeling that we got now.
So when
We're
people
gonna commit to it.
when people bring up our podcast, we want them to be like, yeah, that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of a podcast because it's just a mess.
People are listening and they're like, I'm just waiting for this thing to go up in flames.
Or Hindenburg. We'll just wait for Oppenheimer, and then.
Ooh, yeah, let's see that. Okay. Speaking of Oppenheimer, he was a controversial figure, and we're gonna jump right into
I mean, I know he was gay.
That's controversy.
I mean, maybe. I guess for then. Yeah, I guess right time period. I'm like, that's not really a controversy, Kevin. Yeah,
it was
for the 1940s
time,
though.
Odie.
The 1940s.
Time.
Facts.
It was a different time. It was a time where it was okay to invent a thing that would eventually kill millions of people in an instant.
Mm-hmm. And then make us scared for our life. Anyways.
That's a controversy, and we're talking about controversy. And I'd like to start off with the fact that you saw the Flash movie.
I did.
And I'm going to let you, because I don't care about DC, I'm going to let you do spoilers. So let's do a real quick spoilers right here.
Spoiler.
No, it's a quick one. I'm gonna put in the soundbite. It's gonna be real quick. It's gonna be like a car driving by, or like a very fast sound, and then someone going spoilers.
Okay, I like it. Yeah. All right, so anyway. I'm gonna quickly summarize in the fashion of the Flash. I'm gonna summarize the Flash movie in a flash.
What?
Are you ready?
No, but go.
There you go. Now just slow that down, and you'll be able to understand everything I just said.
I like what you had to say about Michael Keaton's role.
Me too. You know that bit in Family Guy where Peter's like, I can say all 50 United States in like 1 second. He's just like, and they're like, Peter, you just made a noise. He's like, did I? That popped up on my TikTok yesterday, and it gave me the idea for that bit.
I love that.
All right, so for actual Flash summary. Look, the first thing I will say.
Give me the summary.
Let me go from a movie making standpoint first, because it's hard to talk about Ezra Miller because obviously that's part of the reason we're talking about controversies. I want to kind of explain.
That's where we're going.
Yeah. So I want to step back and say that from a movie making point of view, Andy Muschietti and his sister Barbara Muschietti, who are famous for doing It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, they just got picked to direct the new Batman movie, not Robert Pattinson's Batman, a different Batman, but not Ben Affleck's Batman, a different Batman. Yeah, I don't know.
I give up on that, but okay, go.
So anyways.
I give up on DC. Go.
The way this movie is shot, and honestly, it's a good movie. It is beautifully shot. The characters are beautifully written. The inclusion of Michael Keaton and other cameos, I think kind of work. I think in terms of a multiverse situation, it's not that hard to follow.
Okay.
There is one thing that I don't understand, and that was the director said that the CGI is supposed to look weird because there is a scene where the Flash is saving some babies, and when speedsters are in movies, everything is slowed down and they're moving at normal speed. You know what I'm talking about? We saw it with Quicksilver in the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
The CGI, according to the director, is supposed to look weird because you're seeing everything through the Flash's perspective and everything is warped. I think he just said that because some of the CGI in this movie is fucking terrible.
Oh, no.
I don't know if that's a result of production. It can't be a result of money because it's a $200 million movie. There are scenes where the CGI is yes, love it. And then there are a lot of scenes where the CGI is very bad.
That makes me think of anime, because that's how I feel about CGI in most anime.
Yeah, where some scenes are incredible and other scenes are 2 bits.
I feel like the CGI is best when you don't really notice that it's CGI. You're not if you aren't actively analyzing frame by frame the movie, you're just oh, this looks cool, right? That's the best that we can get out of CGI now, because it's everywhere, right?
And the thing is,
the best that you're gonna get is if you're just oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. I mean, to be fair, I will say to be fair anyway, it was only when the Flash is apparently supposed to be moving at hyperspeed or in the Speed Force, which if maybe there had been a line where Barry, the Flash, had said something like, yeah, everything looks a little weird to me when I'm moving at this speed, and then we saw the weird CGI, I would be like, okay, like, I get it a little bit, but like there is none of that, right? So part, it's still a good movie, and the CGI isn't that bad.
He was trying to retcon the bad CGI before they had to retcon the bad. Okay.
To be fair, there's so many superhero movies, Marvel included, that have bad CGI. Like, who cares? At the end of the day, you know, if CGI takes you out of a movie, you can't watch anything from like 2005.
Yeah, wasn't it in X-Men Origins Wolverine? Wasn't that
God.
like the worst CGI?
That was so bad.
I'm remembering that movie right now, and I'm just like, wow, that was a bad movie.
It was a bad movie.
CGI-wise,
it was just a bad movie.
Bad. There's a couple redeemable moments. Like, I actually really enjoyed the beginning.
Oh, well, the beginning is great with all the like flashes through war. Yeah, I love that.
But also like the first 40 minutes of that are good. Anyway, I'm bringing this off topic.
Yeah.
Go back to the Flash.
Yeah, let me go ahead, and I keep getting distracted because I'm trying to pick the movie apart. Anyway, so yeah, look, the whole plot of the movie, some spoilers like we already said, is it's based off of the Flashpoint storyline. Now, real quick, for those of you that don't know the Flashpoint storyline,
what is
it? Flash goes back in time to save his mom from dying. Now, in that storyline, the Reverse Flash, who is an evil Flash from the future, is the one that kills his mom, and you know he sets off the whole course of events because by killing his mom, it makes Barry a hero, you know, all that. So in that storyline, he goes back to save his mom, and when he returns to the present day, Bruce Wayne was killed in the alley. Thomas Wayne is the Batman. Martha Wayne is Joker. Aquaman and Wonder Woman and their countries are fighting. The Atlanteans and the Themyscirans are fighting in like a civil war, consuming the planet. Superman was captured by the Russians and held in like a red light facility. So like nothing is as we know it, right?
Wow.
So this is a loose adaptation of that because
Superman's just in a Russian prison the whole film.
Kinda. So
okay.
In this movie, in the Flashpoint storyline,
that's a really nice way to handle Henry Cavill.
Yeah, just put him in a corner in the dark.
Where's Superman? He's in jail.
He's in jail.
He's in Russian jail.
Speeding tickets. So
you'll never see him in American cinemas because he's in Russian jail.
I think in the Flashpoint storyline, Superman like escapes and then just leaves. He's just like, yeah, fuck this, I'm out. I don't remember. I haven't really seen it in a while. But anyways.
That's weird.
So in this movie, he goes back in time.
Barry's mom got saved. I'm going back to find Krypton.
See ya. So in this movie, it picks up in the beginning where the Flash is working with Ben Affleck's Batman. So it's supposed to be like a continuation of the Justice League movie. But I don't know which version. I don't know if it's the Zack Snyder version or the one that everyone else saw. But anyways.
Whatever.
So then it's all about life lessons, and you know, and so he goes back in time, he saves his mom, and then instead of returning to the present day, he actually ends up getting kicked off out of the time vortex. I don't know what it was, in whatever year Man of Steel takes place. So instead of returning to present day, he returns still in the past. He runs into a previous version of himself that's 18. And basically, they team up to try to. The whole point is that mainline Barry is trying to get back to his timeline because he saved his mom. And he's like, if I can get back to my time, I have my mom. Course of events happen. They meet Michael Keaton's Batman. He tries to assemble the Justice League, which leads them to Supergirl, who is probably the best part of this movie. That actress is phenomenal in this role.
Yeah, I've seen about like 10 seconds of her, and I'm like, okay,
she's
promising.
Good. If this comes out on HBO Max, spoilers, she's not in it very much. I would watch the 30-minute section of the movie that she's in because it's great.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
she's worth it. And Michael Keaton's in there. And I will say, the Michael Keaton aspect, I was worried about like him being in this. He's handled beautifully. I think I would say if you are going to see this and you haven't, don't think of him and don't think of this movie as the Tim Burton Batman timeline because it's not. It's definitely not.
Is he Thomas Wayne?
No. So the way they explain it is that when Barry moved back in time, he obviously changes everything. And by moving back in time and changing the past has to then correct itself.
Isn't Barry supposed to be super smart?
So anyways, yes.
All right.
But basically they just kind of write it off as being like, well, you traveled back in time and time isn't linear. So I'm not the same Batman that you're used to because I'm like my past is different because when you travel back in time, you're not staying on your timeline. You're just traveling back in time. You don't know where you're going to pop out.
That's weird.
Kinda. It's an interesting way to write it off. But anyway, so it all comes to a head with the Battle of Zod, and they've been foreshadowing that there are some things that you just can't change, like no matter what. And they get stuck in this time loop where Batman dies and Supergirl dies during the fight with Zod. And so both of the Flashes keep trying to go back in time to save them. And they're like, this isn't working. And mainline Barry Allen, main Flash, is like, oh, this is what Batman was talking about. Like, we can't change the outcome, basically. And so the whole point of the movie is basically that Flash is supposed to realize, and the lesson of the movie, if you will, is you can't live in your past. And if you change your past, you won't be who you are now. So is it really worth changing your past? Because you don't know what part of you might not be there anymore. You look confused.
It sounds bad.
Honestly, I'm not doing a very good job because it's also a 2.5 hour movie and I'm trying to quickly summarize it.
But like, do you, okay, this is a quick, you can just give me a yes or no on this. Do you think DC raced to get this done because Across the Spider-Verse was coming out?
No. So this movie went back. This movie has been in production since I think 2014, and this movie has been filming since the end of It Chapter 2. That's when Andy Muschietti took over. I think that this movie suffers from a lot of things that I wouldn't say are necessarily anybody specifically. I think it's a lot of people's fault. I think this movie suffers from DC not knowing what the fuck they're doing. The Snyderverse being retracted, even though The Flash was a part of the Snyderverse because he made his debut in Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. Yeah. I think this movie suffers from this movie was supposed to come out a while ago, and because it didn't, movies like Shazam and Aquaman 2 were going to suffer because this movie was supposed to reset the universe. I think that this movie is good. And I think that this movie
reset the universe?
This movie does a really, really, really good job of resetting the universe because, spoiler alert, when he gets back, when the Flash, ultimately what happens is the Flash goes back, stops
when
himself.
He gets back, Henry Cavill never existed.
Well, there is a scene in this movie where well, you're going to appreciate this. I'll tell you that in a second. Hang on. Never mind.
This movie sounds like DC trying to like mop up all of its plot holes with like a
that's what I'm saying. I feel like
they just dumped Berea on the floor and waited for it to get wet and then started using it to mop things up.
Jesus. I think that's the problem though, is I feel like it feels like at some point during the production of this movie, the takeover of James Gunn happened and there was like some behind the scenes restructure of it.
Yeah. But I'm just imagining someone from like the DC marketing department with a handful of spaghetti trying to clean things up on the floor.
Do you know Michael Keaton's Batman uses spaghetti as the analogy for time travel?
Oh my God, I love it. See, I should be working for DC.
I think you're hating on this movie too much because I understand that DC sucks, but I will say that this is it does suck. I mean, DC is terrible. The movies, at least.
I've gotten you to say that The Rock and DC sucks on this podcast.
Yeah, but I think except for the James Gunn DC stuff, this is the best thing that DC's put out.
Odie, hold on. I have to tell you something. My entire goal of this podcast was to get you to say that The Rock and DC sucks, and I did. It's done, baby.
It wouldn't take much for me to say that. I'm not
party time music.
I've got comic book burnout.
All right,
but anyways, so the movie ends with the main Flash going back in time and stopping himself from saving his mom, right? And the way they handle that, by the way, is really good.
Time really fast and then stops really fast him from
so there's so again, I think that's what makes the writing of this movie is really cool because the whole reason that Barry's dad was not present when his mom was killed, because do you know the story about like his mom was killed by the Reverse Flash and his dad got pinned for the murder and goes to jail, and Barry Allen's whole arc is he goes to school to study forensics because he wants to clear his dad's name?
Loosely. Yeah.
So his dad's at the grocery store buying tomatoes because the mom went grocery shopping that morning, but forgot to grab a can of tomatoes. So the whole reason that he's not there is because he had to go back to the store to get tomatoes. So the way that Barry fixes it is he puts an extra can of tomatoes in the shopping cart. So then the dad's there and nothing happens, right? So
are you saying
yes,
that the Flash is a superhero because of
yes,
a missing can of tomatoes?
in this version, yes. I don't know about comic book version, but in this movie version, spot on. Tomatoes, the crux of
Wow.
life. But
Wow.
ow, my knee.
A
Anyways,
forgotten
okay.
grocery item created a superhero.
Yeah.
That's a butterfly effect, baby, right there.
Right. So let me finish
We
this up.
already had. All right.
Long story short, he goes back, stops himself, and when he returns to the main line, he walks out of the courthouse. Another side plot I want to get into, and Bruce Wayne calls him. And obviously, in the beginning of the movie, it was Ben Affleck. They were friends. Well, he says that they're friends. Actually, he says they're best friends, which is really funny.
Okay.
Car rolls up, and Bruce Wayne's like, "I'm coming now." Car door swings open. Suit, head down, starts walking towards Barry.
It's
Guess
Michael
who's-
Keaton.
It's George fucking Clooney.
No, it's not.
It's George fucking Clooney.
He's back?
I don't know. So I think that's the end of the movie. That's where it ends.
All right.
Because then Barry goes, "You're not Bruce Wayne," and George Clooney goes, "Huh?
Have you
I
tried
am.
my tequila?
Have you seen the 1997 Batman and Robin movie? I am Batman."
Oh, that's so funny.
So I think what they did here was leave Ezra Miller's Flash in a different timeline, because now they can be like, okay, let's see what the public reception of this person is, because we're going to talk about their controversy.
Yep. We're gonna get into that.
Let's
All
see
right.
how the movie does, and then if the
Okay.
movie does well and people forgive Ezra, then we can bring them back as the Flash. Now, here's my thing with the Ezra Miller controversy on the Flash. They are phenomenal in this movie. They are a phenomenal actor. However,
Great.
what they did is, in my opinion, inexcusable, and they should not be a part of this franchise anymore. And it pains me to say that, because I do really like them, but what they did was wrong. What they did was bad, and they should not be a part of this franchise anymore. And that's where I stand on it. Do you know what they did?
I
brought it up.
on. Yeah, let's get into that.
Okay. So it all starts back in April of 2020, and that's when I think this movie was either in production or in pre-production. I think they filmed in like 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
So the first thing that got Miller, who, okay, I want to say this up front first. Ezra Miller is non-binary like myself.
Okay.
Them being non-binary has nothing, in my opinion, to do with what they did. And people were trying to pin it on, well, look at them. They're non-binary. They have mental issues. They need help. That's not it. People can be mentally whatever and be non-binary, trans, gay, straight, white. It doesn't matter.
Hold on. Let me throw this out there, and just this. I feel like this is a good coverall for everything that you're about to talk about.
Love it.
There was a show called To Catch a Predator. And I would say, if you were to watch the reruns of that show, that the most common predator that was caught was in fact a straight, let's not even say straight, a cisgendered, middle-aged, white male.
Yep.
So we don't need to talk about anything other than let's just get into what the controversy is and cover it, knowing full well that probably I'm not even I'm gonna say factually the most dangerous person in society, if we're looking at demographic, is cisgendered white male. It's me. It's me. It's me. I know this. I am part of a group.
I'm the problem.
I'm part of a group that is in fact
I get what you're
the
saying.
most dangerous demographic in American society. Okay, cool. Proceed. Odie.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, I think that's a great way to sum it up.
Yep.
Because and again, the reason I pointed out is because it's upsetting because they are non-binary representation. But I think that you can be a shitty person and identify as anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you're a shitty person, you're a shitty person.
It's shitty person, not shitty, and then all of
Identity.
the qualifiers that
whatever.
make you a person, like a type of person. Yeah.
So basically, okay, so we're gonna speed run the controversy. I think this article is sprinkled in.
Episode title: Speedrunning controversy. We got it.
Well, I mean,
Perfect,
just because
go.
we're already at the 30-minute mark, and I'm like, we have other stuff to talk about. But anyways,
Whatever. Keep going.
but who knows? April 2020. Miller was in Iceland, and they were seen choking and throwing an unnamed woman to the ground. Okay, so that's what kicked everything off.
Yeah.
And then
basically pulling what we would call a Friday night for an NFL player who doesn't have a game that week. Go on.
Yeah, because at the time they were in an Airbnb for the filming of Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts.
Yep.
And it basically, they started a relationship at the time with an 18-year-old, and they were 27. And the 18-year-old said that they were super manipulative. So that's not great. It's not good at all, actually. And then skip forward to February. A woman came forward saying that Miller harassed her during a heated incident in a Berlin apartment, voicing fears that Miller could somehow attack me physically. So that's not good. And then what really, really, really kicked it off, or not, well, it's already kicked off, what really made it worse was in March of last year, they were in Hawaii, and they were staying with a couple. They broke into their house. They stole a bunch of stuff. They and I think they threw a chair at somebody. They did a bunch of stuff, and it's just
let's
God.
Back.
Wait,
let's
there's
go
more.
Back to like old school logic. The 3-strike rule. You're right.
Oh yeah. Well, here's more. Because then in April of last year, that's when it came up that I don't remember what state it was. I'm not going to read this article. Doesn't list it.
It's up by me. It's in the Northeast.
It was in Vermont, I think, or West Virginia,
New Hampshire, Connecticut. The amorphous New England area.
They were allegedly they had kidnapped or were holding a woman and I think her kid at their house with guns everywhere, and they were spotted walking around town with a bulletproof vest on. And here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, it is very obvious to me that at least with what happened in April with this lady and her kid and everything, that they need help, right?
Yes.
Clearly something is wrong. Now, the good news is that after all this went down, they went to rehab. They had a drug addiction problem. What a surprise! A celebrity with a drug addiction.
Go figure. Drugs were a factor.
From all accounts, they have been in rehab. They've been working on themselves. The director, Andy Muschietti, the guy that plays Zod, Michael Shannon, Michael Keaton. Everybody said that apparently Ezra Miller was a pleasure to work with on set. That could be a Hollywood thing. That could be true. Yeah. Who knows?
Could be a DC thing. Just more wet spaghetti. Just clean it up.
Yeah, and this is the same industry that Harrison Ford in 2004 flew to, I think it was Italy, to give Roman fucking Polanski an Oscar. Dude, what?
Yeah, fuck that.
This is the same industry that, I would not be surprised if Ezra Miller gets to stay on as the Flash and play in future DC movies.
The industry doesn't have standards. It has double standards.
Exactly. And I don't think that's okay. Now, here's what I will say about the Ezra Miller thing. And I want to say all of this in one swoop, so I do not nobody can take my words and twist them. What they did was wrong. I don't condone it. They need help. They should be held accountable. There should be charges. If there needs to be charges, there should be charges. Whatever those are, they should be. Whatever needs to happen to hold them accountable for what they did, do it. They should not be able to act until, I don't know, maybe ever again? I don't know. When do allegations like this end?
We're not the judge.
Exactly.
We're not the jury.
So
we can only hope that there would be some sort of consequence that
reflects
the severity and frequency of the occurrences.
So I will say, I don't condone what they did. They should be held accountable. They should face justice for what they did.
Yeah, 100%.
But just in one of my favorite Ted Lasso moments, when Isaac, the captain, runs up to the stands because that guy yelled FAG at the gay member of the team.
Yep.
I don't condone what Ezra did, but like I said, obvious from what I've seen in the news and about them that, like I said, they need help. And I hope that they get that help. And I want to say that I don't like what you did and I don't think it's okay, but I hope you get help and I hope you work on yourself and I hope you become better. Because that's what
all we can ever hope
exactly
for people, right? I mean,
exactly.
The idea of rehabilitation is exactly that. It's that you become rehabilitated, right? So that you have like the ability to move forward as a better version of yourself, you know? Like and the drug part doesn't blow my mind, right? Like you can look like you're totally fine in the world and have a huge problem. I mean, I'm very candid about it. Like I looked like I was doing just fine and I had an alcohol addiction, right? Like I was an alcoholic and I looked like I was doing totally fine. Like my last memory the day before I got in a car accident that like I shouldn't have walked away from probably was a very nice person who I knew telling me like, you're a really great person. And then I proceeded to like, I don't remember anything after that point. And then, you know, accident. So like that doesn't blow my mind that drugs are part of that problem, because if you're having an issue, they don't make it better, period. And we learn that in high school. And I feel like it's very easy to pshaw it when you're a kid, because you're like, you have this concept of death, but it feels very ephemeral. It feels very like like outside of your existence, right? And then as you get older and reality sets in, like you either learn or, you know, you don't. But
yeah.
But yeah.
But that is what's going on with Ezra Miller. So look, if you don't want to go watch The Flash because you don't want to support somebody like that, I 100% back you, because I'm not saying you personally, I'm just saying whoever's listening to this, because I agree with that. I think that, you know, some people don't want to separate the art from the artist, and I understand that. There are actors out there that I used to like. I found out things about them and now I don't support them, like Chris Pratt and Kevin Spacey and some others. You know, Tom Cruise rides that line a little bit with his Scientology weirdness, but you know, we'll see if he ever goes over that line for me. And unfortunately,
when we find out that he's been funding the church privately by himself for years off of Mission Impossible funds, I think that's where we'll have to draw the line.
I mean, this is the same guy that literally, like, when production was shut down during COVID for his movie sets, he was like paying everybody's wages on set because, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, my point is that I saw the Flash movie because I like the director. I like Michael Keaton. I wanted to see Supergirl. I didn't necessarily want to support Ezra Miller, but there was other reasons I wanted to see it. With that being said, I kind of wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
And also with that being said, whatever happens with Ezra Miller, like I said, I will not be supporting their movies any longer. But that doesn't mean
I do a lot of separating the art from the artist, because I feel like as you look back in even just like history, right? Like a lot of like the famous people who even a lot of movies are drawing inspiration from are like, as we dig back further and we learn more about people, we're finding like, oh yeah, it turns out, you know, Edgar Allan Poe was a rather shite of a person. You know, like we learn so many things through the revisionist version of history because we have more information available to us that we're able to make that decision. And I think it's our right as people to either separate the art from the artist or to go, you know what, that's not for me anymore. And that I think both, like, there's no wrong answer. I don't even think you need to have a debate about it. I think like if you're like, I want to go see this movie, and your friend's like, I don't really support that actor who's in it, like you can just be like, okay, like it's fine. And you know, like,
you actually just made me think. You made me remember something since we're talking about controversy. I want to bring this up because well, I don't know if we're gamers. I don't know if we can call ourselves gamers anymore, Kevin, because we don't game that much ever.
I feel like it's a once a gamer, always a gamer kind of thing. Like, yeah. We've been gamers. We could be gamers again. As
gamers. Sorry. Did you hear what happened with the streamer Nick Merckx? Now I will say this too.
I don't know shit about streamers, dude.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
You're totally out of my realm.
So I don't know jack shit about streamers except for the two. And I don't watch them on their stream. I watch their YouTube videos. Two Apex creators, Mangoes and Trees and Tim Provision. I'm in Tim Provision's Discord server. That's who I play like Apex with, those people. Anyways, I don't watch streamers. I'm not a big fan of streamers just because
Same.
I think there's a lot of people out there that I know that can watch streamers, and I'm jealous, but I've just been like, I'd rather just play the game. But I get why people watch. It's very entertaining.
I'd rather invite somebody over to play a game with me and or to watch them play a game in person than like, and that's going to sound like a very old school opinion. And I get that, like, it's just going to make it dates me, but like, I don't care. Like, it's just streamers aren't for me. And once again, like, that's people's right.
Fine.
Like, if people are into streamers and that's a cool thing, sure. Yeah. Just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like you giving me this controversy is the most I'll learn about a streamer all year.
Well, let me give you the controversy to you. Okay. So Nick Merckx is involved with 2 other streamers. Now, I'm just going to drop these names. Again, don't ask me any questions. I don't know much about these people. I only know this because somebody I like on TikTok covered this story.
I'm interested to find out if I know what you're talking about based on the story.
Okay. So it's Tim the Tapman and Dr. Disrespect.
All of this just sounds like a fucking cartoon.
It's Halo 3 gamer tags.
Tim the Tapman and Dr. Disrespect. All right, keep going.
Anyways, these are apparently pretty big people. So what ended up happening, I'm going to set this is the precursor to everything. This guy, Nick, who's the controversies around, and I think the doctor and Tim, they all had like...
Please don't call him the doctor. He's not a doctor.
He is a doctor. He's a doctor of disrespect, Kevin.
Keep going.
I think his whole shtick is just being mean.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So what...
He's the one who... Okay, he's the one who pretended his house was getting busted by a SWAT team, if I recall correctly.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
well,
keep going.
These streamers, I'm not surprised that they're in hot water because they just strike me as the type of people that would, do stupid things. So anyways, basically they're all Call of Duty gamers, and Call of Duty released... Oh
yeah, the best of the bunch. Keep going.
Call of Duty streamers are so toxic. Yeah, I know, right? They all had something called an operator bundle, which was like a skin that, like, I guess looked like them, but like in tactical gear. So every military bro that says, I was gonna join the military, but it's like their wet dream to have like a tactical gear armor skin of themselves in a game.
Oh, God.
Which, by the way, as a Marine Corps veteran, the amount of people that come up to me and go, I was going to join the Marines, but then it's like, I don't give a fuck. If you didn't join, like, I don't give a shit. Like, nobody does. Almost doing something is stupid. Unless it's suicide. Don't do that. Anyways.
Don't almost do that.
What is happening? Anyways, here's what happened. There was a tweet in California of a school board fight that broke out of pro-LGBTQ people or protesters getting assaulted by anti-LGBTQ protesters because this school wanted to recognize Pride Month the same way it recognizes like Black History Month and things like that, right?
Yeah, why not?
Exactly. Why not? It doesn't make any, like, why not do it? And so this guy, Nick Merckx, tweeted, like subtweeted it or whatever, however it works on Twitter, that they should leave the children out of it. That's the real problem. Now, here's the thing. Before you say anything, people might hear that and go, well, like, that's not really that bad of a thing to say. Here's why it is. There are 3 things that are attached with that simple sentence of something involving the LGBTQ community and then saying that you should leave kids out of it. One, it implies that if your kids were around anybody a part of that member or anybody a part of that community, like myself, that I would somehow turn them gay, bi, trans, somehow that would happen, right? Somehow that influence would make them that way, which is absurd. 2, it implies that the LGBTQ community is pedophiles, which is a right-wing talking point, which is also absurd given the fact that a lot of straight white men are being accused of being pedophiles, a lot of them involved in the church. And 3, it also implies that you wouldn't want something like Pride Month to be recognized, which opens the door. And this one, I can understand where some people might be like, that's a stretch, but it also opens the door to be like, well, then how do you feel about Black History Month? How do you feel about Asian Pacific Pride Month? Like, how do you feel about these other ones? Because it's no different. It's a group of people that has been, that has been, just dragged through the mud that now people are starting to finally accept, even though they're really not, because of the fucking right wingers who are creating rhetoric like this.
Yeah.
And they just want to be recognized as regular people. It's no different than, and I'm not saying that like slavery and LGBT are like the same, but like Black History Month is a month that we recognize and we celebrate the accomplishments of, you know, African Americans in our history. Why the Pride Month is no different. And to be like, well, it sexualizes children. How? Please tell me how your school board being like, hey, this month is about how like you can have two dads sexualizes the children. That blows my mind. So anyways, I want to keep moving. And so
keep
this,
going.
So Nick makes that tweet. And then Dr. Disrespect uninstalls Call of Duty and goes, because what happened is Call of Duty removed his skin from the game. They were like, Call of Duty put out a tweet and was like, we want to celebrate Pride Month with our staff that celebrate this, you know, celebrate this month that are part of the LGBTQ+.
It turns out that it's not just straight men running Call of Duty on the back end. Okay.
Here's what fucking
keep going.
pisses me off so much.
Oh,
and if you've listened to this point and you're like, well, this isn't that bad, Odie, what are you getting mad about? These are the same three fuckers that didn't say a word when it came out that Activision employees were stealing breast milk from the fridge. Not a fucking word when it came out that Activision employees were sexually harassing female employees. Not a fucking word for any other controversy that Activision has done. But the moment their buddy says something fucking homophobic, they back him up. Because Nick Merckx is the same fuckface who said that Ron DeSantis was the GOAT, Trump saved America, and has supported vocally anti-trans bills in Florida.
Yeah, so
pieces
he's
of
clearly
shit.
Just like he's a personality who uses identity politics as a crutch for garnering support, right? Like he's made identity politics a part of his identity as a person rather than being a person who might think certain thoughts. He's become a piece of political identity. Okay, yeah. Okay, I get what you're talking about there. Yeah, I mean, really, like, here's to summarize everything that you just said pretty quickly. Fuck those guys, and they aren't that good at anything else anyway.
Yeah.
How about that?
Look,
that's fine. The rest of us can go on living our lives. There's a lot of thoughts that I have on that, especially because like I started making the joke in like 2016, 2017, around that time, like around the time that Trump got elected. I was like, I just started making the joke. Like I was like, you know, as a cis, like I at this point I was saying as a straight male, but I was like as a straight white male, I think it might be like my time in history to like shut the fuck up for a minute. Like that was my joke. Like it was like a joke. Like it started out as a harmless joke. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just shut up for a little bit and like let everybody else talk. Like I feel like that might be a good move, culturally speaking. But over the years, I've felt more serious about it. Like I felt more like, and I don't mean shut up like not
I know
like
what you mean.
like disengage. I mean like maybe let everyone else speak and do a little more listening. You know, like maybe there's some perspectives out there that I could learn from that I wouldn't get if I locked myself into an echo chamber of toxic masculinity in video games.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm pretty passionate about this right now, mainly because it's like just fresh and I just learned about it. But
well, there's that, and then there's the fucking Target bullshit that happened.
There's a reason why like this specifically makes me very upset because, and look, this is something that I struggle with because I know, like, for the most part, I look like a straight cis white male, right? But I'm not, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I still slip up and call you he.
And like with you guys, like at game night and stuff, like when you guys do it, like most of the time I'm not going to say anything because like I know like, oh, they said he this time, they'll say they next time. Like I know like it's not every single time.
Well, and I would say most of us do a very good job of correcting very quickly. Like,
we're
and also better at it.
I'm so socially awkward that even around my closest group of friends, I don't want to interrupt people to be like, hey, it's they. Like, but that's just, anyway. So why this is so like why it's so hard for me is because for one, as somebody who like is a part of this community, and then to see people like that have these followings of hundreds of thousands of people continue to support this ideology and this rhetoric that members of the LGBTQ plus community are not only pedophiles, but they're grooming children and like they're trying to sexualize children. It makes me so mad, probably for the reason that the same people that are the ones saying that are a part of the group that actually those things are happening in. And it's so like,
well, they're shifting the focus, right? I mean,
yeah,
like, yeah, it's deflecting. Like that would be like on a cultural level, it's deflecting. So like on a psychological level, if you're deflecting, which is really like, I mean, this is a newer term. And at first, like when I heard the term gaslighting, I didn't really like it. I didn't like the term. Like I was like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. But then as I started kind of like mulling the term through my head and adding it into my vocabulary, I still think like it's a hot button term. And I feel like there's a better way to phrase what gaslighting actually is. But that's deflecting is kind of a form of that. Because what you're saying is like, not over here, over there. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's where it's happening, and that's the reality that we need to pay attention to, not the bad shit that's happening over here. And so deflection is different from gaslighting, but it's similar in that you're trying to control a narrative of reality.
Yeah.
So that it bends to your whim on a cultural level.
Yeah, and the other thing too, and this is what I was gonna say, but then I got caught up in my other thing.
Oh, go on. No, I love it.
So like on my YouTube, right? I just recently made a video, probably the most and will continue to be the most personal video I've ever made. It is.
Yeah, you sent it to me. It was great.
Yeah. Now on my channel, I like to paint my nails sometimes just because, like, why not? And I still get homophobic comments based where the anchor to them is me having my nails painted.
Yeah.
Or there was another video where I did some movements with my hands and people were like, wow, that's like your hand movements are so gay, like using gay in a derogatory sense, right? And like I still get comments from people being like, even on the video I made where it was heartwarming, and I had a lot of people from different backgrounds, you know, atheists, Christians, straight, gays, supporting me. But then I had some people being like, thanks for making this video, but I don't get why you call yourself non-binary. You're not non-binary. You're a man. Stop pretending. Like things like that. And I delete those comments. And it's like, I, as a smaller YouTuber, get that hate more than I would like to, more than I think anybody. Obviously, nobody wants to get hate, but it sucks because it's like I know that as I grow and as I continue to, you know, like my short film that I'm filming next year, or if my YouTube channel does get bigger, or if ever I'm in a bigger spotlight, which I don't really want to be, I'd rather just stay in the shadows. I know that I'm only going to get more of this. And that's what's so depressing, is that I know that I'm only going to get more, which means that I can only imagine the creators that are bigger or the celebrities that are bigger that already are here, how much they must get.
I mean, it's easier said than done, but I think as long as you recognize that it's not about you, and it's about, like, when someone makes a comment, it's really about them.
Yeah.
Like that's what it really is. Like when someone's being a bigot, when someone's being disrespectful, discriminatory, prejudiced, really it's about them, and it's about a level of fear that exists within them, right? Like that. And you might think, some people might want to say that I'm being reductive when I say that, but I am absolutely not. It is a fear of the other. One of the books that I would recommend everybody read, I can't believe like the amount of information that we have available to us on a higher learning level is the greatest that we've ever had in history. And then everybody just gets on and watches a fucking dance on TikTok. Like I can't get over the idea that it, like, there's an information revolution that occurred, and what happened on the other side of it was that people actually got less intelligent. But everybody should read the fucking book Violence, Six Sideways Reflections by Slavoj Žižek, in which he paints a really great picture of why people are afraid of the other. We've always had an other. There's always been like, and we see them as the other. We don't see the other as a reflection within a hall of mirrors of ourself and the things that we have within us, right? And Slavoj Žižek really attempts to close that gap and say, I'm not even saying that it's you and the other and the space between you. I'm saying it's you and you reflected and you and the things that you put in your mind that are separating you and or creating that space, which is an arbitrary illusion, preventing you from embracing another piece of yourself as a human being.
That's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
I love that.
I
love
actually
that
summarized
idea.
that way better than I thought I was going to when I first started explaining it, because I was like, how do I fucking summarize this? This is really like that's some high level shit though. But
no,
like,
it's good. It's true.
He does such a good job of breaking down that wall and illustrating all the myriad of ways that we do it. And one of the biggest ways that we do it is with language, right? We use language to separate ourselves from other people who are really like, you're a person, I'm a person. Congrats. We already have infinitely more in common than we could ever have different, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, on a chemical level, on a physical level, on an existential level, we are more alike than we are different, period.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we will take all of the parts of language, which are relatively arbitrary, but although they have evolved sociologically over time, and we will put them as blockades in between us and create all like a facade of difference, rather than embracing all the things that we have in common first.
Yeah. I mean, you're spot on, dude. Like I mean, the one that I mean, is so, and it's a great way of looking at it, is, you know, when people make those comments, you know, it's like you said, it's them in themselves. It's a mirror. And I'll be honest, when it comes to those comments, I approach them one of two ways. If it kind of honestly depends on what mood I'm in. I'll either delete them, report them, or delete and report, because I mean, I'm going to report it, obviously.
Yeah.
Or have a little fun. Like, I had somebody comment the other day on one of my videos. I get it's 2023, but come on with the painted nails. That shit's dumb. And I replied, are you scared of painted nails? They deleted their own comment. You know what I mean? I had somebody that was trolling my page for a couple videos, and by the third time they had done it, a bunch of my subscribers must have caught on, because they started trolling him back, because he was it's all about painted nails. It's all about how, like, you shouldn't paint your nails if you're a guy, which I don't understand, because, like, and I just want to point this out. If you think that you shouldn't paint your nails as a guy, walk yourself up to somebody like Jason Momoa and tell him that with a straight face, and I want to see what happens, because guess what? Jason Momoa paints his nails.
Bro, I am going to get a manicure this upcoming week, and I am getting clear coat.
Do you want to go get them together when I come up in July?
We definitely should.
Oh, hell yeah!
But I'm going and getting a mani-pedi.
Oh, hell yeah!
Mani-pedi, because I actually stopped biting my nails, which was a huge thing for me. It was like kind of the last like bad habit that I had, was biting my nails, and now I have to stop myself from picking at them, because now I have nails that I can pick at other nails with, which is like a whole other thing. But I stopped biting them, and I was like, all right, to celebrate, I'm gonna go get a mani-pedi. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I could paint my nails, and then I couldn't honestly think of a color. Like, here's where my brain went. I was like, oh, I could paint my nails. I was like, all right, what color would I paint them? And I honestly was going through all of the colors, and I'm like, I have too much of a versatile wardrobe to pick a color that's going to match everything that I wear on a weekly basis. I can't do it. No, because even I have days where I just wear like straight color. Like, I'll wear like color splashes, and the black would clash, and I'm just like, nope, I'll do clear coat. See, it's fine.
Because I'm colorblind, it makes it a lot easier, because I can only see like a couple colors. So matching is spot on.
I have everything from like, I have days where I'm wearing like aqua and blue to days where I wear like pink and gray with like tan highlights to
love
days
that,
where
though.
I'm wearing like
I love that.
Black and cream. Yeah, so like I'm all over the place, and I was just like, I can't pick a single color to wear.
That's fair. I mean, I don't do it as much now that I do a lot of client work, and some of them are where my hands are in the shots, and like out of you know, I mean, out of professionalism, you know, I mean, and I doubt that my clients that I have, because I know them all really well, I've been working with them for a while, like, I doubt any of them would care, but I don't want them to get hate because I made a video with nails that were painted and then some homophobic douchebag on their ad that I made for them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to cause anything for them, so I just try to keep it, plain
I
t-shirts,
also
no logos.
get that because you're trying to highlight the product, not your hands, right?
If it's
like,
my channel,
it's
it's
not
different.
about your hands. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you don't see like a ton of nail polish in commercials where there's a product. You see like the product more than that. And like if you had a color on your fingernails, people's eyes would go there because that would be it would come into the shot.
Exactly.
And then detract attention. So I get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Can I do a segment?
You've been doing a segment.
I know.
Totally. Let's keep going.
I'm trying to get promoted.
I love it.
I'm trying to get head chef.
Head chef.
I don't know what I'm going to call. I'm going to call this. Did you know they them?
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know where you're
I just
going
want
with
to
this.
quickly.
That sounds good.
This is just because as a non-binary person myself, I wanted to. If these people what the fuck am I saying? I wanted to show some light on some celebrities that either use they, them, or identify as non-binary or are gender fluid, which is a version of non-binary.
Yes.
So I'm only gonna do the famous ones. There's a lot. Like this list has 80 people, but I'll be honest, like I don't recognize all of these people. So some of the most famous ones, Cara Delevingne. You might know her. She's a model. Because she uses they, she. Some of these people use they and then what they're assigned with.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Cara Delevingne uses they, she, and then Ruby Rose is they, them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Ruby Rose's acting, but they seem like a really nice person.
Both of the performers that you just listed have very androgynous looks about them. So that makes sense. Okay.
Cara Delevingne, I believe, is dating Michael Jackson's daughter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then so some musicians, Demi Lovato is probably the most famous. They use they, them. I think that they came out and said that they use they, she now, which I've been considering going back to like they, he, but just more of a. And I don't know how other people do it, but I was thinking about doing it just to give people a break so they don't feel as bad if they use he.
Yeah.
But I realize it's not really how I feel though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Demi Lovato, Sam Smith.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
And
none of these are blowing my mind.
Miley Cyrus said in 2019 that they were gender fluid and they just don't give a shit. And to me, come on in. You're non-binary now.
That's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. Rebecca Smith. Miley Cyrus is just, I don't know. They're such a character.
Yeah.
Okay. So actors and actresses. Jaden Smith, apparently. I didn't know they were still considered an actor.
Wait. Is non-binary or gender fluid?
Yeah. Non-binary, apparently.
They, them?
They, them.
Oh.
Okay. Very famous Elliot Page. They, he. Love Elliot Page.
They, he. Okay.
Where was the other person I was just looking at? There was another famous actor, actress. Do you know? Oh, okay. Never mind. I guess I'm missing somebody on this list. Huh.
My favorite thing.
Oh, Ezra Miller.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Duh.
My favorite thing that Elliot Page was ever in.
Last of Us. Bella Ramsey. That's who I was thinking of. Bella Ramsey is they, them. Sorry.
Yes.
That's the last one that I'm going to mention.
No, you're good. My favorite thing that Elliot Page was ever in was back when they were Ellen Page, and they were in the movie Hard Candy. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's a really good movie. And I mean, you were talking about the deflecting nature of cisgendered white males toward other groups in society, and that movie is all about a girl going to a guy's apartment because she believes that he is a sexual predator, and the big reveal is she's there to enact vengeance on him. And then it's so good. Have you seen that movie?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it though.
Big recommend, because it's like a psychological thriller in a way, thriller, revenge slash kind of a mystery, as in like you're seeing like, is he really? Is he not? Like, it's really good. I highly recommend.
I think
it's kind of like Sleuth. Have you seen Sleuth?
Oh, okay.
With Michael Caine and Jude Law, and then famously back in the day with Michael Caine and another famous actor I can't remember right now.
But Michael Caine doesn't play the same character, which is weird. But
no, because he got older, so he plays the older guy in the new film.
I like that. But my favorite thing with Elliot Page is Umbrella Academy.
I like Umbrella Academy. I
love that show.
I fell off on the third season. I'm not gonna lie.
Third season's my favorite.
I fell off, man. I gotta watch it. I still
you might have to give it another try when season 4 comes out.
I just don't have a time.
I know. I don't really watch a lot, which honestly, that might be a good way to jump into Consumer Report.
Have you watched? Yeah.
Consumer
Report. What? I'm changing it from Consumer Report. It sounds too boring.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go back to, because we're not running the Upstate Coffee Collective podcast right now, so we're just gonna go back to what's your jam, baby.
I like that.
Yep. What's your jam this week? What are you jamming?
I went first last time.
Jam a show.
So you get to go first this time.
Okay. My jam this week. What have I been listening to? I was just listening to Lido. Lido's one of my favorites of all time. Producer, works very famously with Jaden Smith. Goes on tour with them.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. I love
Speaking
Lido.
of the devil.
Yep. And Lido actually worked on Jordan Cross. I can't remember. He worked on like some really good shit this year, and Lido's just like a phenomenal producer. He pays really great attention to sound. Before I had even discovered Lido, he had already performed with an orchestra. You know, like he's that dude. Like he's just awesome. And his music always makes me happy. Yeah. That, and then I really like that. I was walking through Target the other day, and I heard a Coltrane song. Have you ever listened to Coltrane? Like COL3TRANE.
Yes, but not like intentionally.
Coltrane.
You know what I mean? Like they come on the radio. I've heard him before, but like.
All right, so
yeah.
Coltrane also works with Lido, which I love, because I first found Coltrane on Colors on YouTube. I was like watching the Colors performances, which have like, they highlight newer artists.
Yeah.
Very famously, that's where I saw, not very famously, that's where I saw, but very famously, Billie Eilish actually.
Yeah, that's how I know about Colors.
Did a performance on Colors before she blew up.
Yeah.
So I really love Lido, and I've been listening to Coltrane, and he's got a new song out this week as well called Moderation, which is super fucking good. Like it's kind of in that pop punky R&B genre bending area that people have been experimenting with since Kid Laroi blew up. So that's been really good. And then I mean, of course, I jammed out some more Lord of the Rings this week because that set came out, and those cards look amazing. And like,
I want to see more of them.
I'm kind of coming over. I'll send you some pictures. I'm kind of coming over the crest of like how much I'm re-embracing Lord of the Rings, and then I'm gonna,
Star Wars.
You know, I'll like fall down again.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that I'm kind of going through that journey. So Lord of the Rings was definitely a good jam this week. And then did I watch any shows? I don't think I watched a single show this week because I went to judo. I was busy every night. There was just stuff going on. You know, like I'm busy now. Here's my future jam today or tomorrow or Monday, because I have it off for Juneteenth.
Right. Maybe I should take Monday off.
Yeah, I'm going to have I'm gonna jam out catching up on Demon Slayer.
Dude, I was gonna ask you off air if you'd seen any of it, because my other really close friend,
2 episodes behind.
My close friend Mark has been keeping up with it because he doesn't give a shit if it's dub or sub. He just watches whatever episode's available.
I watch sub.
Demon Slayer I watched sub. My Hero I watched dub.
That makes sense. All right.
I
mean, I don't care either way. I watch sub because even if I'm watching the dub, I have subtitles on. So
yeah, me too.
Why not just watch sub?
But yeah, let me know. I need to watch. I might catch up on that I might catch up on that tomorrow.
I think the thing that I like about I'm going to touch on this real quick and then we'll go over your jams. But like, I think the thing that I like about watching subs when it comes to anime is that the inflection that the characters have in Japanese, like because the language has its own, like there are some nuances to the inflection and intonation of the Japanese language that just lend themselves to the style of animation better, obviously, but then also like even some of the physicality of the characters in it. Like I feel like sometimes if you're watching a dub, some of the almost like kabuki style over the top animation or some of like the weird cuts, they seem a little bit less congruent because you're watching it and like someone's saying something in English and they're trying to have the same type of inflection that moment would have in Japanese, and it just doesn't land the same way. So like a lot of times like jokes won't be as funny, or moments of like levity or moments of like supreme like hard cut seriousness won't have that same level to them. You know?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
No, yeah, because I was thinking about the difference between the ones that I've watched with sub as opposed to dub, and
yeah.
No, I could see that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there are benefits. In my opinion, there's benefits to both, right? The reason why I like to watch dub sometimes over sub is because maybe I'm not fully paying attention. Maybe I'll pull out my phone and look up the voice cast, or maybe I'll, walk into the kitchen, and then obviously I'm missing what's happening if I can't read the screen. And then, if I'm really focusing, I'll watch, sub for some animes. It just depends.
Yeah, I've learned that I can tell when to watch based on the music and how people are talking. So, like, even if I walk away from the TV, I'll hear someone's voice change and get, like, real serious or scared or something. And then I'll hear the music and I'll be like, oh, shit. I gotta go back. I think they're about to fight. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, what's your jam this week?
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I really haven't watched anything either. I mean, I saw The Flash.
Oh, fuck! I fucked up.
Why?
I know what I watched this week.
Oh.
I watched Across the Spider-Verse, which is, according to your plot analysis of The Flash, Across the Spider-Verse is just a better version of Flashpoint. Like...
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's just
really
a good movie, though.
Really is.
The Spider-Verse is probably the best. Those two movies, like Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, whichever order those are supposed to go in, those are like two of the best superhero movies, period.
Into the Spider-Verse, into Across the Spider-Verse, yes. Two of the best Spider-Man movies ever. Ever.
Yeah. Oh, Spider-Man,
like
100%.
over the top, amazing. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Good also, movie. They got Metro Boomin to do this soundtroomin. Oh, that's my... I've really fucked up. I dropped the ball this week.
You just totally interrupted mine. So
I don't.
Keep going.
I'm sorry. Metro Boomin doing the soundtrack and Across the Spider-Verse. Big recommend for anybody. Like they're just so good. Anyway, keep going.
Anyways,
sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, Ted Lasso. My partner wanted to finish it, and they had watched ahead of me. So yeah, I watched a couple episodes of that, but I wasn't really fully paying attention because I already seen it. But I saw The Flash.
Yep.
I read a comic book. Have you heard of Maniac of New York? The Maniac of New York?
Only because we listen to the same podcast every week.
I also have their bonus podcasts from Big Sandwich Co., and they had covered it on Book Club, the classiest book club around. And I was like, interesting. So I bought it, and I read it, and we've talked about horror. We like horror. And I gotta be honest with you, it's pretty good. It is. Okay. It is, honestly, to me, it is what Jason Takes Manhattan should have been. It is a dude in a mask with a machete that has just been, literally the premise of this is he's been murdering people so much in New York that they've given up on trying to stop this guy and instead have just been like, all right, well, we're going to send out warnings of where he might be. Go inside because we're not going to stop him. And it's amazing. It's so good. I read the first issue. Sick. It is, I'll bring it with me when I come to visit in July so you can read it. It's a quick read. It's really good. So I read that. What
I like about that is he very likely has to have a first victim for them to send out a warning. You know, like there has to be someone murdered for them to be like, we think he's here.
Yeah, and he's definitely supernatural in my opinion.
Oh,
I don't know
cool.
for sure. I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing.
Cool.
But I'm hoping it's like multiple people. Like I think that'd be so fucking cool. But anyways, we'll see. I'm about to order issue 2 off of
Okay.
Amazon.
I hope
yeah.
that it's kind of like Paranoia Agent, where he is supernatural, but there's like a way deeper psychological explanation for it. Yeah. All right.
I'd be down for that.
Speaking of classic anime.
But yeah, I read that. Watched a little bit of Ted Lasso. Watched The Flash.
Okay.
What did I consume this week?
That's a lot already, man.
Bought some more crop tops.
Yeah. Dude, busting out the crop tops. A couple years ago, I was rocking a crop top, and like I remember like catching the first like couple weird looks, but also like couple thumbs up. People are like, "Yo, I respect the crop top." I'm glad it's coming back for dudes. Have you seen old pictures of dudes wearing short shorts and crop tops?
Dude, that's
totally
what I'm going
down
for.
With that style. I was born for this style to come back. I always said that I deserved to be born in the 70s anyway. You know how like and it's not that I should have actually been born in the 70s. Like I don't actually think that. I'm making the most of the time I live in. Like I don't have some sort of a weird chronological identity crisis going on here. But ultimately, had I been born in the 70s and had I had a lot of the same experiences that led me to become the person that I am now, I would definitely be living my best life. Because that was a time to dance and wear crazy suits and crazy shoes and have like short shorts and crop tops during the day. Man, that's the bomb. I love the 70s. I want to wear like 70s style tracksuits and like some jewelry and play bocce ball when I retire. Like that's my whole retirement plan, is having a bocce ball court and wearing tracksuits and like, you know, just living a groovy life.
Dude, that's the only reason the reason I mentioned that is because one of them just got delivered. It's in my Amazon hub at my apartment complex. And I was like, that's why I was like, I ordered some more crop top. But yeah, honestly,
hell yeah.
This week was more of a, much like our friend Matt Pfeiffer, who I feel like we have to mention his name every podcast because it's an Easter egg now.
And
we have. And Byron. I was just buried in work. So I really, honestly, I ended up working most of last weekend except for on my birthday. And then I worked Monday through Friday, pretty much just balls to the wall. So there's a lot of listening to music on repeat that I've already mentioned.
Can I?
Of course.
Can I share something with you for the end of this podcast?
Absolutely.
Byron actually has my favorite name of any friend I've ever had. Like I love.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's call it a day. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.
Byron Bennett is the most British sound. Like it's the best. I cannot get over how much I enjoy saying it. My friend Victoria and I will very often, if I mention Byron, we'll launch into a bit where we go back and forth about the various scandals in high society that a character named Byron Bennett might be into. We're like, yes, Byron Bennett. Yes, the famed ladies' man, Byron Bennett. What a philanderer.
Famous criminal Byron Bennett.
Famous criminal Byron Bennett has struck again. Like, yeah, it's just, it's the best.
All the baby milk. Byron Bennett, the baby milk stealer.
He has stolen so much baby milk. Who has he stolen it from this time? Like, or even like we're like Byron Bennett, the man who dances about high society with flippant remarks, often degrading those around. You know, like it's just like we just have this character of Byron with like a cravat and like very nice, like just dressed up like pomp and circumstance, old school British dandy style. Like and I love it.
That's awesome.
Yep. And that is the podcast.
That is the podcast.
Let's play fancy British music at the end of this one.
America. Oh, wait, no, sorry.
Don't say America. Get out of here with your America. We're going to do the British.
Wee-wee?
No, it is tea time.
Mercy buckets.
Not wee-wee. Not merci beaucoup.
Mercy buckets.